Well, Pastor Rick Warren of Saddleback Church in California, this guy, the comments that he made about Corona and worship in the church, I don't know about this, but I'm curious to get your guys' reaction. We're going to break it down. Before we go any further, guys, if you enjoy the daily content I put out for you here on YouTube, and you would like to help support me and my ministry, I recommend you sign up on Patreon for as little as $5 a month. Patreon.com/conservativetruth. That link in the description right now gets you access to all the bonus content. Soon it might be all the content with YouTube cracking down and everything, giving me all kinds of warnings on my content. Who knows how much longer I'm going to be here. So if you want to not only help support what I do, but make sure you keep getting my content. If I happen to disappear, then I recommend you sign up on Patreon. Please also like this video, share it, hit the bell, subscribe, and I wear the glasses because I'm blind. So Pastor Rick Warren gave an interview here talking about what Corona has done to the church in general. And he says he believes that it has revealed a fundamental weakness within the church. And he said that weakness is the fact that churches have focused solely too much on just worship only. Worship to me is the foundation for why we gather as believers, to be able to worship and give praise unto God. But Rick Warren says that's not the case. At Saddleback, well, they focus on many different aspects there in their church. And he talked about missions, and he talked about giving, and he talked about discipleship, and the other programs that they have there. And look, that's all good. There's nothing wrong with that at all. Discipleship, of course, meeting one-on-one with people, witnessing to them about Christ, that's all good. Trying to feed the hungry, everything like that Rick Warren said they do, perfectly fine. But to actually devalue worship and say that that's really what's been holding churches back, he then went on further to say that he doesn't believe that throughout this entire deal that churches have been discriminated against. He says, I don't believe for a second that churches have been discriminated against. He thinks that everybody has been just treated, equally. That's not the case at all. Another lie by Rick Warren. He thinks that everything else has just been closed, just like churches. Oh, but yet he doesn't mention the fact that in Las Vegas they were allowed to keep the casinos open. That was fine, but churches were told they couldn't worship indoors. Now that wasn't allowed. Or churches were told they can only have up to 10 people in an indoor service when all these other businesses could have as many people as they want. To me, that's not being treated equally, so I don't really know what Rick Warren is talking about there when it comes to everybody being on the same playing field. It's not the case. He also then went into the details about, well, you guys have heard this before, right? About how the mask represents love. It's love thy neighbor. Oh, another love thy neighbor pastor. Isn't that nice to see? He says that's why he wears the mask, to protect people, because Jesus said to love thy neighbor, and that's what the mask represents to Rick Warren. He also went on to say that he's not going to put the health of his church members at risk. He just can't do that. He says, I have to answer to God one day for that. So I can't have my church open at full capacity. I can't have all these people in my church. That's not what I'm supposed to be doing. God's going to hold me accountable for that. Let me just tell you something, Rick Warren, okay? He calls himself not a coward, but he is a coward. Just look at what's happening to the other churches there in the state. Look at what Pastor John MacArthur has been going through there at Grace Community Church. Mike McClure, Calvary Chapel, San Jose. Plenty of others there in the state. Supreme Court getting involved, now saying that worship is essential. We have a right to worship and gather. We have a right to assemble. This is what Warren doesn't understand. He's perfectly okay. This is what you need to understand. He's perfectly okay with just giving up his rights as a believer, as an American. We go ahead and give him up to the government, give him up to the New World Order. He says he could just focus on these other things and meeting to worship just isn't as important. So he's willing to essentially lose the church. That's okay. All in the matter of public health. I don't buy it. And I'm tired of these megachurch pastors using these platforms to become the puppets of the New World Order, to repeat what it is that they say. And more of them are being exposed. And Rick Warren, let me just say this isn't anything new with him. Okay, this guy has been controversial for a while now. So I'm not surprised that he's taking this position at all. But I want to hear from you guys. What do you think about his comments here, saying that churches have not been discriminated against and that worship has been a fundamental weakness because too many churches are focused on the worship aspect? Let me know your thoughts. I'll put some more information for you in the description. Maybe some of you are watching, you attend Saddleback Church. You can let us know a little more details. Thank you so much for watching. I really do appreciate it. I'll be back with more. You guys take care. Please be safe out there. God bless each and every single one of you, and I'll talk with you soon.